You said. In the year 2147, the boundaries of human emotion were no longer a mystery to be pondered by philosophers, but a frontier to be mapped by science. Deep within the subterranean laboratories of the NeuroCore Institute, a team of researchers led by Dr. Elara Voss had spent a decade perfecting the neural resonance scanner, a device capable of measuring the physiological and psychological markers of human fear with unprecedented precision. The scanner could detect the faintest spikes in cortisol, the subtlest tremors in muscle response, and even the fleeting neural patterns associated with terror. Their goal was noble: to understand fear so thoroughly that humanity could conquer it, eradicating phobias, post-traumatic stress, and the paralyzing dread that had haunted the species since its dawn. The experiment began innocently enough. Volunteers, carefully screened for psychological stability, were brought into the sterile white-walled chamber known as the resonance room. The room was a marvel of engineering, a soundproof, temperature-controlled environment designed to eliminate external variables. Subjects were fitted with a lattice of sensors, electrodes on their scalps, dermal patches on their wrists, and retinal scanners to track pupil dilation. The neural resonance scanner hummed softly in the background, its sleek, obsidian surface reflecting the dim light like a dark mirror. Each volunteer was exposed to a series of stimuli: images of spiders, recordings of distant screams, virtual reality simulations of falling from great heights. The scanner catalogued their responses, mapping the architecture of fear with clinical detachment. The first phase yielded predictable results. Fear, it seemed, was a universal language, written in sweat and racing pulses. Arachnophobes flinched at the sight of a tarantula. Claustrophobes gasped in simulated tight spaces. The data was clean, consistent, and exhilarating. Dr. Voss and her team published their findings in the Journal of Neurocognitive Dynamics, earning accolades from the global scientific community. But as the experiments progressed, a troubling pattern emerged. A small subset of subjects, fewer than 1%, exhibited responses that defied explanation. Their fear metrics spiked not in response to the stimuli but in the absence of it, during the control periods when the resonance room was silent and still. These outliers, dubbed anomalous responders, reported no conscious fear, yet their bodies screamed with it. Dr. Voss, a woman driven by an almost obsessive need to understand, could not let this anomaly rest. She redesigned the experiment, focusing exclusively on the anomalous responders. She recruited 12 new subjects, each of whom had shown the unexplained fear response in preliminary tests. They were a diverse group: a retired pilot, a schoolteacher, a quantum physicist, a street artist. None shared obvious traits, no common traumas or phobias. Yet, when placed in the resonance room during control periods, their bodies reacted as if confronted by an unseen predator. Heart rate soared, neural activity spiked in the amygdala, and their eyes darted as if tracking something invisible. The team hypothesized that the anomalous responders were reacting to subliminal stimuli, perhaps a frequency too low for conscious detection or a flicker in the room's lighting. They upgraded the resonance room, shielding it from electromagnetic interference and calibrating it to eliminate even the faintest vibrations. But the results only grew stranger. The anomalous responders' fear responses intensified, and now they began to describe sensations: a pressure in their chests, a sense of being watched, whispers at the edge of hearing. One subject, the physicist, swore he saw a shadow move across the wall, though the room's cameras recorded nothing. Dr. Voss pushed forward, driven by a mix of curiosity and unease. She introduced a new variable: the void protocol. During these sessions, the resonance room was plunged into total sensory deprivation. No light, no sound, no stimuli of any kind. The neural resonance scanner was programmed to focus solely on the subject's baseline fear responses. The first subject, the retired pilot, emerged from the void protocol trembling, his data showing fear levels equivalent to facing imminent death. He refused to speak of what he experienced, resigning from the study the next day. The schoolteacher lasted 10 minutes before screaming to be let out. The street artist sketched furiously after her session, producing a series of chaotic, abstract drawings that depicted a figure, tall, limbless, faceless, looming in darkness. By the fifth void protocol session, the team was fraying. Technicians reported feeling uneasy in the resonance room, even when it was empty. Dr. Voss herself began to experience migraines, accompanied by fleeting images of a vast, empty space. She dismissed it as stress, but the data was undeniable. The anomalous responders were not reacting to external stimuli. Their fear was endogenous, as if something within them, or beyond them, was triggering it. The breakthrough, if it could be called that, came with Subject 9, the quantum physicist named Dr. Lena Korsakov. Unlike the others, Lena approached the experiment with a detached fascination, her mind attuned to the esoteric edges of reality. During her void protocol session, the neural resonance scanner recorded an unprecedented spike in activity, not just in her amygdala, but across her entire neural network. It was as if her brain was attempting to process an overwhelming influx of information. When she emerged, her face was pale but composed. She requested a private meeting with Dr. Voss. In a dimly lit office, Lena shared her theory. "The scanner isn't just measuring fear," she said, her voice steady but low. "It's amplifying it. Or rather, it's tuning us to something already there. I saw it in the void protocol, not with my eyes, but with my mind. It's not a thing, not a creature. It's a presence, a pattern in the fabric of reality. And it's aware of us." Dr. Voss was skeptical but intrigued. Lena's data showed anomalies that aligned with her claims. Quantum fluctuations in the resonance room, detected by sensitive instruments, that coincided with her fear spikes. These fluctuations were minute, on the order of Planck-scale disturbances, but they were consistent. Lena proposed a radical hypothesis. The neural resonance scanner, by mapping the neural correlates of fear, had inadvertently created a feedback loop, resonating with something outside the known spectrum of reality. She called it the observer. The team debated shutting down the experiment, but Dr. Voss refused. She argued that they were on the cusp of a discovery that could redefine human consciousness. Against the protests of her colleagues, she scheduled a final void protocol session, this time with herself as the subject. She wanted to experience the phenomenon firsthand, to see what the anomalous responders saw. The session began at midnight. The resonance room was sealed, the scanner activated. For the first 10 minutes, the data was unremarkable. Then, abruptly, Dr. Voss's vitals spiked. Her heart rate surged to 180 beats per minute. Her neural activity became erratic, patterns collapsing into chaos. The technicians watched in horror as the scanner's readings went off the scale, registering energy signatures that defied their instruments. On the live feed, Dr. Voss was motionless, her eyes wide open, staring into the darkness. When they opened the chamber, she was alive but unresponsive. Her pupils were dilated to the point of obscuring her irises, and her hands clutched a notebook filled with frantic, indecipherable scribbles. The final page bore a single legible phrase: "It sees us all." The NeuroCore Institute buried the experiment. The resonance room was dismantled, the neural resonance scanner destroyed. The anomalous responders were released with strict non-disclosure agreements, their data classified. Dr. Voss was institutionalized, diagnosed with acute psychosis. She spoke only in fragments, muttering about the observer and the seam of the world. The official report cited equipment malfunction and psychological stress, but whispers spread among the team. Some claimed the scanner had tapped into a dimension beyond human perception, a realm where fear was not an emotion but an entity. Years later, the street artist's drawings surfaced on the dark web, accompanied by a manifesto claiming that the experiment had awakened something ancient, something that now watched humanity from the edges of existence. The quantum physicist, Lena Korsakov, vanished, leaving behind a cryptic paper on non-local consciousness that was dismissed by her peers. The NeuroCore Institute continued its work, but no one spoke of the fear experiment. Yet, in quiet moments, those who had been in the resonance room swore they could still feel it, a faint pressure, a whisper in the dark, the sense of being seen. And across the world, in moments of unexplained dread, people began to report the same sensation: a shadow at the edge of vision, a presence that knew their fears before they did.